it's a real thing. Intro, let's go with another flow. Ain't your average entertainment show. More to entertainment than what's on the screen. Connecting dots on what you see.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Paul Amadeus Lane, HollywoodNewsSource.com, ABC News Radio Keymet. So happy to have you on this edition of the Entertainment Zone. Going to be joined by my colleague from Hollywood News Source, Darryl Lake, senior editor over there. He and I are going to break down the Arrowverse. We're going to chat about Supergirl. We're going to chat about The Flash. But we're going to start our conversation about Arrow. Yeah, the name of the verse, Arrowverse. So my challenge throughout the whole show is to keep Darryl in his shot. Darryl moves around a lot, so we're going to try to keep him in the shot. You can always connect with me, PaulAmadeusLane.com. So, hey, let's go. Let's talk about Arrow and the Arrowverse. I'm so happy to have my colleague from Hollywood News Source, the great Darryl Lake, senior editor over here. What's going on, my man? How are you?
I know about great, but I'm doing pretty well.
You know,
I'm very happy to be on here to talk some Arrowverse.
Well, you know what? You know, I gotta give you all the superlatives, you know, because you're my friend from across the pond. So I can't use slang English. I gotta use a King's English. So I gotta make sure I sound intelligent with you. All right.
Okay.
Hey, so Darryl, we know that the Arrowverse is taking a little bit of a turn. So let's talk about what we've seen so far with this season of Arrow and where we think it's going, and then we'll go into Flash, then we'll check out Supergirl. So what was your impressions of this season of Arrow?
I think this is pretty much this feels a lot more like the last season of Arrow. There's a lot of things in there that sort of show it as coming to an end, and there was so much crammed into this season. We have to remember that Oliver started in jail this season. That was this season that he was in jail for a few episodes, and then we went through all that. We went through his sort of like brainwashing with that crazy doctor. Then we had a new mysterious Green Arrow. We had, you know, the ramifications of Oliver coming out, vigilantes being outlawed, and then also we had the flash forwards showing a possible future. There was just so much that was in this, and obviously the way everything came to an end, with knowledge that for one, Arrow is coming back for a shortened season next season, and the fact that we're losing Emily Bett Rickards. It felt like a lot. It felt very much like coming to an end, especially that the episode that had them being followed by a documentary team, which tied into was it Star City 2040, the flash forward thing. So that's why I sort of felt it. It was very much last season. I think next season will be very different from any Arrow season that's gone before.
No, I totally agree. I think the shortened 10-episode season is going to be just like, I think they're just going to, you know, pull out all the stops and see how this is all going to come to a crescendo. And I was looking at the last episode, the season finale, when we saw Felicity at the end with the Watcher. It seemed like go into a different universe or a multiverse, trying to meet up with Oliver.
The Monitor, not the Watcher. That's Marvel.
Got you. Sorry. Oops. See, I'm gonna get trolled.
Don't want to get angry YouTube comments.
Yeah, you know I'm gonna get trolled now, right? Yes, the Monitor. Yes, you're absolutely right. With the Monitor, and so that gave me a glimpse and started me to think. I don't think we're going to see the end of those two together. I think I know Stephen Amell spoke about the other day doing an article about will he show up in other, you know, multiverse, you know, versions of the Arrowverse and all these other things. This is my feeling, Darryl. You can tell me if I'm wrong or not. I can see Arrow showing up in multiple shows, Flash, DC Legends, and the new
So like
new
this, do you
Batwoman.
mean like this season? Do you mean next season?
Next
So
season.
like, do you mean like from 2019, 1920, or
Yes.
do you mean like past that,
I
or
mean,
just 1920?
1920,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think he'll pop. I think he'll be popping around. That's what that seems like, and I think we're probably going to get a lot less Star City
Yeah.
in Arrow. I think it's more going to be the the I don't know pre. It's going to be the preface to Crisis.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be spending its time more setting up Crisis so that the other shows can just keep on actually telling their stories and deal with the things that are happening on their shows. Whereas obviously Arrow doesn't have that. It doesn't have anything that it doesn't really have to set up a big bad because the big bad for um, Arrow is pretty much the end of his life, which we've obviously suggested that that's very much a possibility.
Well, this is what kind of confuses me. Like
Hmm.
from the last episode when the Monitor took Felicity to see him, and we're thinking that Arrow died already because of the time that when Mia was a baby to being an adult that
He's
the
never been. Yeah, he's the.
so I don't know, is he about to die when the Monitor takes Felicity over
So
there
what I
or what?
think is, what I assume is that when we see, um, in the end, because so much happens in that episode, when we see in the end when the Monitor comes to collect Oliver and Oliver saying, "Oh, I think I'd have more time," or something like that. I think at that point he goes off to do something. He's not going off just to die. He's not like porting him, then shooting him in the head and burying it somewhere. So I think because of we also know that um, there is like this hit out on Oliver's family. It makes sense then for Felicity to fake Oliver's death. So that because that should hopefully keep the children a little bit safer. So that's why there's the grave. That's why there's the gravestone that we see at the end in the flash forward time before the Monitor comes and gets Felicity. So I think so. The world thinks he's dead, whereas obviously Felicity knows that he's somewhere else doing something.
Right. And I guess my thing too is, and we all assume
He's out the timeline. You won't ever for the rest thing. You won't ever see him.
right.
Like I know. I guess people would never see him anywhere.
Right, kind of reminds me of an episode of Deep Space Nine. You remember when Jake Sisko when Captain Sisko got caught up in like a time loop, and we saw when Jake was younger, Jake was older, Jake was married. When Captain Sisko kept coming back and forth to the timeline, and I think this is where the confusion is. I think we all thought that when the Monitor took Oliver, that Oliver was going to maybe die real soon after the Monitor took him.
Yeah.
But now,
Well, I suspected it's that I suspected that he knew because remember when the Monitor first came, it
Right.
was I'm looking for people who will stand against the coming crisis.
right.
So
So we're assuming Oliver's going to
but
die, but he might not die. He might just be in that universe with the Monitor from now to eternity, right?
I will assume that he'll probably die during the crisis, and that's why the Monitor took him, so just to make he's his prized asset. He doesn't want anything happening to him,
Right.
and so there'll probably be just to keep him safe because there's a lot of things I've been looking at. Like Instagram is pretty great for Arrowverse theories and stuff, and there's theories, for instance, that that the crisis will pretty much remove all other speedsters and stuff. So there seems to be it's going to be like a DC Comics crisis in that it's going to reset a lot of things. It's going to remove a lot of extraneous characters.
Well,
So I think
and you know what too. This could be a possibility too. I don't know if you. I know you're not a real big DC Legends of Tomorrow fan, but I remember one episode of DC Legends of Tomorrow. They went to the future, Star City, where it was John Jones Jr. in an old Arrow.
One dolly.
Right, and then my thing is this: I don't think Oliver is going to die from the crisis. I think Oliver is going to come back to a different timeline after all this is over, after Mia's older, after all these things. So that's my thing. I don't think he's going to die. I think he's just going to be with the not the Watcher. What's his name?
The Monitor.
The Monitor. Why am I tripping today? The Monitor. And I just don't think Oliver's going to die in the Crisis. That's just my fanboying conclusion. But we shall see, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to be surprised. Either obviously it's just the fact that that the Crisis is going to be a lot about Oliver.
Yeah,
which is interesting because one of the major sort of one of the major criticisms of the last thing was that it was too much about Oliver and Barry of the last crossover. Was it too much about Oliver and Barry, and why was Supergirl even there?
That's true. It was good to see Arsenal come back this season. It was really good to see him. I'm a big fan of his. I like it. What was your thought?
Yeah, I do. But I'm not necessarily a big fan of someone coming back, him murdering people.
Right.
And having.
I didn't like that. I don't like the way they were treating him. Yeah.
I don't like the way they treated the actor and that character in general. Because I can remember, wasn't this? I think it was last season where we had multiple articles saying, "Oh, Roy will be back this season." He never was. It just didn't happen.
Right.
I said, "Yeah, Roy will be back at the season," and we waited and we waited and we waited and we said, "Oh, this is going to be no," and then to have him come back. I mean, it went like we left them where we had Roy and thing having at least a sort of a happy ending. I mean, as much as going around the world fighting assassins is a happy ending, but at least Roy and Speedy were together. But now we have this where he's gone back to the that angry rage monster that he had after he was given the Mirakuru,
right?
And he could barely control himself. And we see even in the flash forward, it's still affecting him.
That's true. And here's another.
So there goes, and he's been on the island. So him and Willa, that's definitely not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
It just felt like shortchanging a character I thought he just deserved more.
Well, you know what? In the thing too about the series and the season 2, I thought for sure we would get a Speedy cameo, but I guess she must have ticked off the producers or something. But we haven't seen her. She had a cameo in the video,
right, about vigilantes. She appears in that. She talks a bit about, but yeah,
that kind of shocked me.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to speculate, but I mean, if she wants to move off, I'm sure I can understand that.
Right, and as we look at this season 2 of Arrow, the season is fine. This season, the one thing that kind of really, I wish they would have expounded on was why did Wild Dog or Renee change his hairstyle in the future to the slick back kind of 1950s look.
I know.
When you saw that, Darryl, what did you think? What did you think when you saw that the first time, his hairstyle?
I looked, just went, that's a little weird. But I just went, yeah, they want to give him they want to give very unique looks, and I think it's just to show how different he is. He's a mayor now. He's part of the establishment.
Yeah.
Instead of, that guy running through the street randomly shooting people with handguns, which appear to be like normal lethal bullets.
Yeah, but it was good to see the kids grow up too, and I wish they would have delved into more of Diggs' other son. You know what I mean? We didn't see John Jr. I wanted
biological son. He's got evil.
Yes. I wanted to see him. And they talked about him, but we never got a glimpse of him. So I wanted to see how he was.
Yeah, but it's that he now leads the Deathstroke cult.
Yeah.
So obviously things went pretty bad there.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Well, Darryl, as we wrap up this episode of talking about Arrow, anything else out there that you wanted to let the fans know about your impressions of this season and the season coming to an end next season?
I think, I think it's right that it's coming to an end now. Um, I do think that this season, with the with the new showrunner, with the new direction, it definitely felt different. And the last few seasons had been somewhat stagnant. But I do think, especially with the loss of Emily Beck Ricketts, I think it is right to bring it to an end. And I think if they do it well next year, and I think we could have like we could. I'm hoping there's going to be a sort of handoff where now, whereas before, if anything big happened, the first person you think to call and organize things is Oliver. I hope he can pass that mantle on to Barry, unless they make Barry disappear for a while, unless they do go and make that Barry disappear from the thing on
Yeah.
this timeline.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the other thing, if you're an Arrow fan, um, this weekend we'll be covering MCM Comic Con, and we have the big three there: Stephen Amell, um, Emily Bett, and Dave Ramsey. So hopefully we'll be bringing you footage from them over the weekend. So stay tuned to Hollywood News Source.
Awesome. And I was so happy that when Laurel Lance came back came back, even though it was
Absolutely. Yeah.
someone from another universe, but always loved her character, and I was glad that she
I
came back.
do like what they did with her. I
Yeah.
think her. It's weird because I like how they took her storyline,
Hmm.
and I don't like what they did with Dinah's storyline.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I feel you.
The same thing every episode
I f-
of her just going after Renee or going after Oliver, and it's like this is the same woman who went and murdered the person who she thought murdered her partner, and all of a sudden she's just had this huge flip, taking the Kool-Aid, and can't countenance being a vigilante when vigilantes are people who literally saved her life in terms of giving her life back, giving meaning back to her life. It just didn't feel right.
Well said.
It just felt forced.
Well said. Well said. Well, Darryl and I are going to get up on out of here, but we're going to come back with another episode. We're going to talk about Flash and see how what we think about that and all the other things. And Darryl, give them a little tidbit or a little morsel of your viewpoint of Flash before we hit that episode.
On Flash.
Yeah, just give us a little tease before we hit that episode.
Okay, little tease is this: if you don't like Nora, come at me. That's the tease.
I love it. Well, Darryl and I, we're going to hit up Flash in a second, so make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us both. I'm at Amadeus 2K. Darryl, how can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Shaftsword, which is SHAFTSWRD. I'm always down to talk US TV.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Darryl and I will be right back. We're going to talk about Flash coming up right after this.